Count three. One, two, three.
Hi, a very good morning to everyone. I'm Kenneth. Together with me, my group mate, Bilal, will be presenting you a case study of the Sewol Ferry. I believe that every one of you have heard before this incident over the news. It actually occurred last year, April. It's a very tragic disaster because there are 476 passengers were aboard. And out of these 476, less than half of them survived in this disaster. And what is even more tragic is that 325 passengers are actually high school students. And out of these 325 high school students, 75 of them barely make it. So for today's presentation, we're not talking about so much about the whole incident from the beginning to the end, but we are focusing on the communication problem faced. How can this communication problem lead to such a fatal accident? We know that this disaster is not caused by Mother Nature. It's not a natural disaster, but it's a disaster that caused by communication problem and human factor. So, moving on for today's overview, I will be doing the introduction and background of the incident. Bilal will be presenting the communication problem faced during and after the disaster. Lastly, Wenbing will be doing the conclusion and presenting you the recommended solution. Next, I would like to share with you a video. This is a video of an oil tanker, Captain Mu. They are interviewing him because he is one of the witnesses that witnessed the whole incident of the Sewol. And it's also a good opportunity for you guys to recap what actually happened in this Sewol incident.
This is the first image of the doomed Sewol ferry. Calm seas belie the horrors unfolded within the ship. This is the view from Dula Ace, an oil tanker that is first on the sea. Captain Moon Yeshuk receives a call to help a ship in distress at 9:06 a.m., 11 minutes after the Sewol says it is in trouble. He soon has the ship in his sights. I could tell the ship was sinking just by looking at it, he tells me. The situation was so bad, I assumed the evacuation was well underway. It wasn't. This was the scene inside the ship at around 9:06 a.m., filmed by a student who did not escape. His phone was retrieved with his body and given to his father. Joking and unaware of the danger they are in at first, they then ask, why can't they tell us what's going on? The fact that they asked us to wear life jackets, doesn't that mean the boat is sinking? Then an announcement, the third of its kind you hear on this recording, saying, once again, please do not move from your current location. Absolutely do not move. So they don't. Captain Moon and his men are on deck, ready to deploy the life rafts to save anyone in the water. Moon tells CNN he is 200 meters away, but the Sewol keeps asking over the radio where the rescue boat is. 9:14 a.m., Dula Ace, talking directly to Sewol, says people should escape. A full 10 minutes later, the Sewol crew member is still asking, if passengers escape, can they be rescued? This person was inexperienced, says Moon. In an emergency, it should be the captain on the radio. You need to make decisions fast. But it is unclear where the Sewol captain was at this point. He was one of the 174 people rescued, along with 20 of his crew. Moon says he's angry he left his passengers behind.
Alright, I believe that everyone of you is quite pissed off with the captain, right? He actually abandoned his passenger on board, and he is among the first few to escape. I mean, as a captain, it's really a no-go, because this is a responsibility. Your responsibility is to ensure that every passenger is safely evacuated. Okay, moving on next, I'll be presenting the before disaster. What are the problems identified? So for the first problem we have is overloaded with passenger. Investigators claim that they carry double the limit of the ship capacity, meaning they carry twice the amount of passengers. And this is a no-go because it actually increased the weight of the ship. Secondly, cargo is not secured properly. Lashing devices were used, and investigators also claim that these lashing devices were let loosen on the cargo. And some of the crew members didn't even know how to use such devices. Thirdly, is illegal ship modification. Illegal ship modification, the captain actually extend the upper deck. It's a 5-story deck, but actually originally it's only 3-story. The captain actually increased from 4th to 5th, and because of this increase, they can actually take in more passengers, and they earning an extra profit of close to 1 million in just only 1 year. Yeah. So, but having said that, illegal ship modification doesn't mean just by extending the park. It also means by bypassing all the safety regulation, all the safety inspection. Yeah, so it's more like a bribery thing. And lastly, this is where the disaster strike. This is where the start of all the disaster happen. It's because of this inexperienced member steering the ship. It's between the miscommunication between the helmsman and the third mate. Because of this misjudgment, it actually led to a sharp turn, and eventually the ship sinks. I will hand over the presentation to Bilal. Bilal will talk more about the communication problem faced during and after the disaster. Bilal, please.
Right, thank you, Kenneth, for the introduction of seawall sinking. Now I'll talk to you about the communication problem that might cause the seawall sinking. So, as Kenneth has said, the ship, the something of the sinking of the ship is due to the fast turn of the ship. So what actually causes the fast turn of the ship? The third mate of the ship was actually the commanding. He was the one that looking at the radar for any ships that are nearby to avoid collision. And the helmsman is the one that is controlling the ship. He's steering the ship. So the third mate part actually was monitoring the radar, and he saw a ship on its path of collision. So he actually asked the helmsman Cho to steer the ship to avoid the collision. And helmsman Cho actually hit Park's order, and he turned the ship to 140 degrees, followed by 145 degrees in 1 second. And this turn was actually too fast. Previously, the third mate Park was under the regular captain order, and the regular captain actually told third mate Park that turning more than 5 degrees should be made very slowly, because this ship restoring force is very low. But this message wasn't conveyed to helmsman Cho, and eventually it turned too fast and the ship started to sink. And both of them are actually very inexperienced. Helmsman Cho and third mate Park has only a few months experience in seawall, and this was their first time in the Mango Channel. Next, I'd like to tell you about the communication problem number 2 between the cruise, passenger and BTS. So the BTS is like a command center of the ship. They are monitoring the ship location. So once the ship starts to sink, a high school student actually called the emergency service center to notify on the ship sinking. And the crew actually made a distress call to BTS a few minutes later. And the Coast Guard, fisherman boat and nearby ship were actually alerted to help with the operation. So actually what went wrong was, once the ship started to sink, as mentioned in the video earlier, this announcement was repeatedly said, do not move, just stay where you are, it's dangerous if you move. Just stay where you are. This was repeatedly announced in the ship throughout the whole sinking. And this was what, in the video as mentioned earlier, between the captain, the crew and the BTS, that the seawall crew actually keep mentioning to the BTS that if this ferry evacuate passenger, will you be able to rescue them 3 times? They say 3 times, and what their response is always, at least make them wear life jacket and escape them, and make them escape. And also the BTS told them that the petrol boat will be there in less than 10 minutes. And this is what the captain actually said after the whole thing. His assessment was that at the time the current was very strong, and if you have to wear a life jacket or not, they might still face severity and die eventually. So what actually went wrong in this problem, this communication problem number 2, is that the captain should have told BTS his concern from start, that he's scared that if they were to actually evacuate and make escape plan, they might not have survived, and the BTS can then advise the captain accordingly. So, for example, the captain was worried about passenger survival, and he kept asking them if they evacuate, can they survive? So, if the captain would tell them that to tell them his concern, BTS can advise them accordingly. Lastly, the rescue operation. So once the sinking starts, various units in government set up the HQ, and that's where the confusion arises, because there's no centralized HQ to control the operation. And some government units has resources and resources to actually help in the operation, but they wasn't deployed because there was no centralized HQ. And the Pen government accident response HQ was being set up a day after the accident, to satirize the whole operation, and this was too late because the ship actually sank. Lastly, I'd like to share with you a documentary reported in the Golden Tank for Sea Wall Ferry. There was no state. In this video, it shows that the victim family actually went down to the rescue site, and there was no rescue operation being done. And the news actually revealed information that rescue operation by the government official is done to the best and positive area, but in the video, the victim family said there's no rescue operation being done. I'd like now to pass over to Bombay to talk about the conclusion and recommendation.
Thank you, Bilal. I shall now highlight the problems that we identified as well as the recommended solutions. So first thing, between the termite and the helmsman. The termite and the helmsman has 6 months experience in sail and no experience in sailing through the Mekong Channel, which is the site of incident. And Mekong Channel is actually notorious for its strong underwater current. And investigation shows that turns should not exceed more than 5 degrees under any condition. And the cause of sail to be actually the overloaded and steering error. So what do we recommend? Is to disseminate all the information to the crew, such as the overloaded sail before the ship actually departs, as well as the location of the ship. For example, okay, now the ship is actually at the Mekong Channel, which is notorious for its strong underwater current. So care must be taken care of. The structure care must be denoted. Next, between the crew and the passenger, under the captain's order, the communication officer made an announcement through the PA systems to ask the passengers to stay where they are. And even when the captains abandoned the ship, no evacuation order was actually made. And this actually leads to a order versus an instinct situation. For those who actually follow their instinct, they survive. But it is not wrong to follow order, especially for professional orders such as the captain's order. But had the captains actually ordered an evacuation announcement, more lives can be saved. Next, between the crew and the BTS. So this actually shows the cycle from all the way from Sewa to the Jingo BTS, which is the nearest BTS, which is actually responsible for all the rescue operation dispatch. From here, we really see that this actually takes up quite a lot of time and causes some delay. Had the Sewa actually contacted Jingo BTS directly, more time can be saved, as well as more life can be saved too. Next is the rescue operation team. Many people were actually being set up, and this actually caused confusion between the media as well as the family members. Not only that, there was no clear communication among the rescue team, so they have no idea who is responsible to enter into Sewa and save those actually trapped inside. A centralized HQ was actually being established, but this was too late. So what we recommend is that to establish a centralized HQ immediately after the incident. So what are the future recommendations that we can actually make? Before departure, implement safety briefing to all the passengers so that they know what is the escape, what is the evacuation SOP, as well as where are the life jacket and life vessels. And inspection of safety equipment by the crew member to ensure that all the quantity and quality of the safety equipment is actually up to date. Second, is to establish an emergency response HQ. This emergency response HQ has to be established before any incident happens, so that in the event of any incident, this HQ will actually take charge of all the rescue operation team. Thirdly, is to enforce stringent check on company. For this case, if Sewa has been checked by the government that it has been illegally modified, such incident may not happen or will not happen. Last but not least, is to ensure that all the crew are certified by the government, such as a 1-year license, to keep their memory refreshed so that they know what is the updated SOP. And this concludes our presentation. Thank you for your attention.
These are the reference that we taken, mostly from CNN News. Alright, so any question?
Just now you mentioned that overload of passengers. Before you board the ship, you have to buy a ticket. Am I right to say that?
Yes.
Okay. When you buy the ticket, there's a quotation of the numbers of tickets you can. The captain should take note of the number of tickets issued out. Why this is not implemented in the company?
That's why I said this one is the captain bypass some safety regulation. Because he's the captain one. he make the decision, he make the say. So he can up to him to accommodate how many passengers he want. And he already increased the deck from a 3-story, from only 3-story of the ship, right, into 4th and 5th. So with this amount of space, right, he can actually take in more passengers. As I already mentioned in the illegal ship modification part, he already said that he actually increased from 3rd deck to 4th and 5th deck. So it's up to him, like originally only can seat 300 passengers, but it's for him to say that I can increase to 600. Yeah, so he can put in more seat and what. Yeah. So all these things is the safety regulation is also up to the captain to say. So it's no one really enforce it. Government also never really enforce such regulation. Yeah. So the passenger won't know that how come it's overload, because they feel that when they are on the ship, they feel that they got a place to sit and for their luggage to put on. So unless they feel that if the ship everyone is standing, right, like you taking MRT, everyone is packing, then they might feel overload and people might complain. But he increased to a much more space and everyone is able to sit. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, you mentioned that there was miscommunication between the VTS and the captain, right? So the captain was concerned that if he let people jump off the ship, they would die or something, right?
Yes.
And then because of that, he did not evacuate the ship. But there were people surrounding that ship, right? There were fishermen boat and whatever. And there's even the Dola is recording the sinking, right? So why didn't this ship step in to help? And what exactly did the VTS tell these people?
Actually, thank you for your questions. Actually, what happened was that the VTS just told the captain that try to evacuate your passengers. But the captain didn't follow his order. And the captain actually told them that if you start evacuate them, can they survive? Can all passengers survive? This is what the captain keeps telling them. And that's why only those who didn't follow the order, they actually went out to actually try to escape. And those are the ones that survived. But those students, they are actually students. They just follow order and they actually don't evacuate. And that's the reason why they are still stuck inside. And even the boats are coming. Because the boats wasn't there yet. The boats were actually on the way. Helicopters were coming, the boats were coming, and they were, so that's why they actually, the passengers that are below, right, they were actually stuck and they weren't rescued. But those who were on top and didn't follow order, didn't follow announcement, they were actually rescued on top. Is that, does that answer your question?
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay.